dear students, hope you are fine. Today we will be discussing para second, page 15 of the text Hornbill, class 11th. As you know, we are reading a lesson. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. So now let us start. Page it is page 15 para second. Take the wheel, I shouted. Take the wheel, I shouted as I scrambled for the hatch. Larry and Herb were pumping like madmen. Larry and Herb were pumping like madmen. Broken timbers hung at crazy angles. The whole starboard side bulged inwards. Clothes, crockery, charts, tins, and toys sloshed about in deep water. I half swam, half crawled into the children's cabin. Are you all right? I asked. Yes, they answered from an upper bunk. But my head hurts a bit, said Sue, pointing to a big bump above her eyes. I had no time to worry about bumped heads. After finding a hammer, screw, and canvas, I straggled back on deck with the starboard side bashed upon bashed upon. We were taking water with each wave that broke over us. If I could not make some repairs, we would surely sink. Take the wheel, I shouted as I scrambled for the hatch. Narrator here says that he, the narrator, handed her the wheel and climbed towards the door. Larry and Herb were pumping like madmen. लैरी और हर्ब जो थे वो देवर पॉपिंग लाइक मैडमैन, वो पानी इस तरह निकाल रहे थे जस्ट इफ दे आर, इट सीम्स दैट इफ दे आर मेड मैन. Broken timbers hung at crazy angles. Broken timbers, जो broken timbers जो थे, that means the timbers of the ship which were broken and they were hanging badly. The broken timbers hung at crazy angles. They were hanging at odd angles. That means these timbers of the ship were broken and were hanging badly. The whole starboard side bulged inwards. That means the whole starboard, the whole right side, the whole starboard, the starboard of the ship, bulged inwards. It seems to the narrator that it is swelled inwards. जो starboard इसका था शिप का, वो bulged लग रहा था, that is swelled inwards. Clothes, crockery, charts, tins and toys sloshed above in deep water. और जो क्लोथ्स थे, क्रॉकरी थे, चार्ट्स थे, टिन्स थे और टॉयज, they were roaming around in the deep water, right? The timber of the ship were broken and were hanging badly. The narrator says that timbers of the ship were broken and were hanging badly. The starboard of the ship had sunk. These clothes, crockery, charts, tins, and toys were roaming around in the deep water. I half swam, half crawled into the children's cabin. I half swam. The narrator says that he swam, I half swam, half crawled. That means I covered the distance. I traveled the distance. Half distance was traveled by swimming, and half distance was traveled by crawling into the children's cabin. Children's cabin के तक पहुंचने के लिए कुछ डिस्टेंस जो है वो मैंने तैर के सफ़र किया और कुछ क्राउलिंग करके वहाँ पे पहुंचा. इन आधा सफ़र जो था that was covered by swimming, and the half was and the rest of the distance was covered by crawling. Are you all right? asked. मैंने उनसे पूछा कि आप ठीक ठाक हो. Yes, they answered from the upper bunk. That means that from the upper berth. From the upper berth. They answered yes, we are. I asked yes, yes. They answered from the upper bank. But my head, but my head hurts a bit. लेकिन मुझे मेरा जो head है थोड़ा इसको hurt हुआ है. Said Shu, pointing to a big bump. एक बड़ा जो पंप था वहाँ पे वो काम नहीं कर रहा था. Otherwise, I had no time to worry about the bumped heads. That means swelling heads. A big bump means swelling. Pointing to a big bump, एक बड़ा बड़ी ही swelling इसको हुई थी अब वो हर eyes के ऊपर से. I had no time to worry about these bumped heads. That means मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है कि मैं इन swelling heads को देखूं. After finding a hammer, screws and canvas, I struggled back on deck. That means after finding a hammer को ढूंढ कर और screws को और canvas को canvas means rough cloth को ढूंढ कर I struggled back to on the deck. On deck, that means I managed somehow to go back to the deck. With the starboard side based upon me, with the starboard that was bashed upon me. Bashed, that means that was smashed, or that was the starboard was that was smashed and that was open. We were taking water with each wave that broke over us. हम हर एक जो लहर से पानी जो आ रहा था हम उसको पानी को बाहर निकाल रहे थे. If I could make some repairs, we would surely sink. तो अगर मैं कुछ repairs करूँ इसमें तो definitely हम बच जाएंगे. So यहाँ पे कुछ words हैं. One word is timbers. That means wood board used in building of a ship. Now the another word is that is starboard, side of a ship which is on the right side when one is facing forward. Bulged means swell. Sloshed means move through liquid with a splashing sound. Bashed means tried hard. Here narrator says the crewmen Larry and her were pumping the water very fast. They were pumping the water outside. They were doing this very fast. The timbers on the ship were broken. Right? The timbers on the ship were broken and were hanging badly. The starboard of the ship had sunk. Clothes, crockery, charts, tins, and toys were roaming around in the deep water. The narrator swam and crawled to the children's cabin and asked the children whether they were all right. The children replied yes. Shu, his daughter, complained about a big bump on her head. Big bump on her head, that means swelling on her head. The narrator did not pay much attention to it as his major concern was to save them. The narrator found screws, a hammer and canvas, that means the cloth. He went back to the deck. The broken starboard side was letting so much water in it. If the narrator could not fix the problem, they would all sink in the sea. Now Somehow I managed to stretch canvas and secure waterproof hedge covers across the gaping holes. Some water continued to stream below, but most of it was now being deflected over the side. Somehow I managed to stretch canvas and secure waterproof of hedge covers across the gaping holes. Gaping holes. Some water continued to stream below, but most of it was now being deflected over the side. More problems arose when our hand pumps started to block up with the debris floating around the cabin and the electric pump short circuited. The water level rose threatening, threateningly, but back on deck I found that our two spare hand pumps had been wrenched overboard. Along with a four-stage sail, the jib, the dinghies, and the main anchor. Then I remembered we had another electric pump under the chart room floor. I connected it to an outpipe and was thankful to find that it worked. Now it says now there are some words. Now first word is that is deflected means turned aside. Canvas means a strong unbleached cloth. The breeze means rubbish. Wrenched means pulled suddenly or removed. Forestay means a rope to support ships foremost. Dinghies means a small boat for recreation with mast or sail. Right? Somehow I managed it. Somehow I managed to stretch canvas. मैंने मैनेज किया कि इस canvas कपड़े को मैं stretch करूं तो इसको फैलाऊं and secure waterproof hedge covers across the grabbing holes. तो जो ओपन ये माउथ्स जो थे उनको भी ओपन होल्स जो थे उनको मैं बंद करूं इस कपड़े के फैलाने से कैनवास के कपड़े के फैलाने से मैं इसको इनको बंद करूं. Somehow water continued to stream below. लेकिन कुछ पानी जो है that was streaming below but most of it was now being deflected over the side. That means ये जो पानी जो था it was now moved away by the help of this stretching of the canvas. More problems arose when our hand pump started to block. कुछ और प्रॉब्लम्स हो गए जब हमारे जो हाथ हैंड पंप जो हाथ से हम चलाते थे दे started to ब्लॉक हो गई up with the debris. That means with the broken pieces of wood and metal. These hand pumps started to block because of the broken pieces with the debris that means with the broken pieces of wood and metal floating around the cabin and the electric pump short circuited out. This electric pump was short circuited, so that means because of the water when it flows in these electric pumps they were short circuited. The water level rose threatening. That means this water level now it is it rises fearfully. Back on deck I found that two of our spare hand pumps had been wrenched overboard, but I I go back to the deck. I found that two spare hand pumps they are twisted on the ship. वो ship पे twisted हैं along with the forestay sail. That means along with the front big sail, the jib, the small sail, the dinghies or small open boats, and the main anchor. Anchor here means mm, rooms. Anchor means a heavy metal object dropped over the side of a ship to keep it in one place. And the main anchor, that means I found also the anchor here means a heavy metal object to drop it over the side of a ship in order to keep it in one place. So this is the work of an anchor. Then I remembered we had another electric bulb under the chat room. और मैंने ये मुझे याद आया कि हमारे पास और एक इलेक्ट्रिक पंप है अंडर द चैट रूम फ्लोर. चैट रूम फ्लोर में हमारे पास और एक इलेक्ट्रिक पंप है. दैट मीन चैट रूम हियर मीन्स रूम इन ए शिप where charts are it is chart room not chat room, it is chart room where charts are consulted. So then I remembered we had another electric pump. मुझे याद आया कि हमारे पास और एक इलेक्ट्रिक पंप है under the chart room floor. I continued it to an out pipe and was thankful to find that it worked. और मैंने अल्लाह का शुक्र किया कि ये पंप ठीक काम कर रहा है. The night dragged on with endless, bitterly and routine. So, narrator, let me give a bit explanation of these lines again. The narrator stretched the canvas cloth and secured the waterproof of hatch which covered the gaping holes. Some water streamed below and some was now deflected over the side. The hand pump was blocked as rubbish was floating around the cabin and entered. The electric pump short circuited. As the water level rose, the narrator found two hand pumps had been removed along with a rope jib, a small boat, and the main anchor. He found another electric pump under the chart room. He connected it to a pipe, to an out pipe, and it started working. Right now, there is the night. The night dragged on with endless, bitterly and routine of and the night dragged on with an endless bitterly cold routine of pumping, steering and working the radio. We were getting no replies to our mayday calls, which was not surprising in this remote corner of the world. Shoes had fallen alarmingly. She had two enormous black eyes, and she had now she showed us a deep cut on her arm. When I asked her why she did not why she had not made more of her injuries before this, she replied, "I did not want to worry you when you were trying to save us all." The night dragged on with this endless, bitterly cold routine of pumping. Narrator says that this night dragged on. That means it continued with the endless, bitterly cold routine. और यही रूटीन यानी ये सर्दी का समा था ऑफ पंपिंग. और हम पंप कर रहे थे, वाटर को बाहर निकाल रहे थे. स्टीयरिंग एंड वर्किंग विथ रेडियो. और मैसेजेस दे रहे थे रेडियो को. वी आर गेटिंग नो रिप्लाइज टू वेरी मेडी कॉल्स. लेकिन हमने जो भी कॉल की और उसका कोई भी वहाँ से कोई जवाब नहीं आया. Mayday calls means words used to signal ships struck in a disastrous situation through radio. तो वहाँ से कोई सिग्नल नहीं आई. which was not surprising in this remote which was not surprising in this remote corner of the world. ये जो remote corner था वर्ल्ड का, इसमें ये सरप्राइजिंग नहीं था क्योंकि वहाँ से कोई सिग्नल ही नहीं जाती थी. Shoes had swollen alarmingly. shoes का जो head है वो थोड़ा that has swollen continuously, alarmingly, fearfully. She had two enormous black eyes and now she showed us a deep cut on her arm. और अपने बाजू पर भी वो कुछ deep cut दिखा रहा है. When I asked why दिखा रही है. When I asked why she had not made more of her injuries before this, asked her why she had not made more of her injuries before, she replies, "I don't want to worry you when you were trying to save us all." मैं आपको ये बताना नहीं समझती थी क्योंकि आप सबको आप हम सबको बचाना चाहते थे. सो यहाँ पे कुछ ये वर्ड है दैट इज मेड ए कॉल्स दैट इज words used to signal ships stuck in a disaster situation through radio. Here it says the whole night was about the endless routine of pumping out the water, steering the wheel, and working the radio. There were no replies to their signals sent over the radio as they were in the remotest part of the world. Sue's head was now more swollen, and she had two black eyes with a deep cut in her arm. When, upon being asked why she did not tell him about her injuries earlier, she said that she did not want to worry him as he was trying to save all of them. आज इतना ही. आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. थैंक यू वेरी मच.